But for number 39, Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter says he's never smoked pot, but there's no doubt his son Chip did on the roof of the White House with Willie Nelson. Still, Carter was the most progressive president on pot in the war on drugs era, telling Congress, "I support legislation amending federal law to eliminate all federal crime penalties for the possession of up to 1 ounce of marijuana." So kudos to him for trying to do that.
Jimmy Carter was being a realist. He was like, hey, here's a product. We can make money off of it. Chip smoked it on the roof of Willie Nelson. Nobody died. Nobody turned into a zombie. Nothing like that. There wasn't reefer madness. Chip came down, had the White House chef make a big-ass sandwich.
The worst that could have happened was they could have fallen off the roof of the White House. Guess what? Didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they went down and the White House chef cooked it up.
Yep, Chip came down, the White House chef made him a big-ass sandwich. And Willie came down there and was like, hey, brother, I gotta hit the road. We gotta be on the road again. And they were gone. So.
Yeah, and then, of course, we've got another big fat no to Richard Nixon, Tricky Dick.
Tricky Dick. He was too busy, Tricky Dick.
Quotes that came out of his mouth. Yeah, sorry, quotes that came out of his mouth. And, I'm sorry, I don't like to say this word, but... says, I want a goddamn strong statement on marijuana. I mean, one that just tears the ass out of them. It's a funny thing. Every one of the bastards that are out for legalizing marijuana is Jewish. He actually said that.
Calm down, cool guy. Man, we were just talking. You freaked out and said every swear word your mom taught you when she was... when you were a kid.
Wow, dude.
Yeah, that came out.
Calm down, you son of a bitch bastards. We're going to be stern on your assholes.
Yeah.
Calm down and take a toad.
Really, man.
For JFK. He used marijuana to deal with severe back pain, according to a few written accounts, including John F. Kennedy, a biography, which described this White House scene. On the evening of July 16th, 1962, according to Washington Post executive Jim Truitt, Kennedy and Mary Meyer smoked marijuana together. The president smoked 3 of the 6 joints Mary brought to him. At first, he felt no effects. Then he closed his eyes and refused a 4th joint. Suppose the Russians did something now, he said.
Oh, damn.
Man.
Paranoia stepped in.
He was like, got the red scare all of a sudden.
Exactly.
He was like, oh shit, paranoid Floyd. Yeah, red scare. Everything's red. Look, the back of my eyelids even look red. They're going to get me.
Yeah.
Jesus,
coming in
no.
tonight.
Yeah. And then
I got to go lay down. You get a cookie. Juan, you have a cookie.
And then, of course, from President 17, Andrew Johnson, to President 34, Dwight Eisenhower, there's, really almost nothing in the way of historical record.
All the way back to Jefferson?
Pot. Yeah. But
Jefferson smoked weed, man. I know he smoked weed. Look at him.
Yeah.
Look at him.
Oh, God, yeah.
It's like Wiz Khalifa. It's totally like Wiz Khalifa. Look at him.
Just take a look.
Yeah, him and George Washington. George Washington seen some shit in battle.
Oh, no,
he came back and was like, man, we're going fields a week. We fought for this. That's why it's going down. We're making paper.
George Washington. He's on here. Don't worry. Of course, we have a big fat no with number 16, Abraham Lincoln. Even though
I think he was a closet smoker.
Yeah, it says, the internet abounds with people
he was busy.
Claiming Honest Abe loved a pipe of sweet hemp and playing my Honer harmonica. Of course, but Honer didn't make harmonicas until 2 years after the alleged quote and didn't export them to America from Germany until 1868, 4 years after Abe's assassination. So that's how they're debunking that little quote.
Did a harmonica kill them?
No.
Death by harmonica.
It sounded like a harmonica.
And then, of course, also that, he said, prohibition goes beyond the bound of reason. So. Yeah,
there you go.
But then it says it's a fake written by a former mayor of Atlanta in 1922 to court black voters to oppose alcohol prohibition.
Well, good try, Mayor.
Yeah.
Good try, brother.
Yeah, that doesn't necessarily mean Lincoln didn't partake.
Like, hey,
we just
Lincoln
have
did
no
it.
proof that he did.
Lincoln did it, I swear. All right, I'll try to prove this soon enough. And then everybody will believe it from here on out. If I make everybody from here on think Lincoln believe that, it's over with.
Yeah.
Exactly. Get on your Mayor.
And then we've got...
Don't smoke crack like that other mayor.
We've got a yes with number 14, Franklin Pierce. One of 3 military men to become president who enjoyed smoking marijuana with the troops fighting the Mexican-American War. In a letter to his family, Pierce wrote that smoking marijuana was about the only good thing about the war.
I have a story about Pierce, because I remember whenever we were looking through the presidents, they make you learn the presidents in school, and they went through all the presidents, and like the Pierce guy, they were like, you had to pick a president, you know, do something on. I can't even remember all the stuff about him right now, but I was like, Pierce, man, that's the cool president. For some reason, back in the day, that's the cool president. Middle of nowhere, he's the cool one. You can just look at him.
Now we have proof.
Yeah, you can check out Franklin
he
Pierce.
Was the cool one.
Yep.
Look at him.
Well, and then we also have, yes, on number 12, Zachary Taylor, another of the 3 military men who smoked marijuana with the troops.
Right. I knew a kid named Zach Taylor in high school who smoked marijuana.
That's awesome. Yes to number 7, Andrew Jackson, third of the 3 military men.
I did a report over
whose letters referred to smoking marijuana with the troops.
Action Jackson.
Action Jackson.
Yep. Yes to number 5, James Monroe. He openly smoked hashish while he was ambassador to France and continued smoking it until his death at age 73.
Got him hooked. No, this kid didn't get him hooked. He just loved it.
Yes to number 4, James Madison.
Totally. They started the Dolly Madison cookie.
Well, that's how Dolly Madison got her start.
Right yeah. Dolly Madison. She makes all those little delectables.
All the little yummy.
Yeah, you go in there and get a bag of them for $5. Like, that guy is a true, sportsman right there. He knows what's up. He's like, we're going to give him munchies on the cheap.
Right.
You do it, lady.
Get to bacon, Dolly.
And then we've got a resounding yes with President number 3, Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah.
In addition to farming hemp, Jefferson was ambassador to France during the hashish era there. At risk of imprisonment if caught, Jefferson smuggled hemp seeds from China, known for their potency, to America. However, as far as our research takes us, he never said or wrote, "Some of my finest hours have been spent sitting on my back veranda smoking hemp and observing as far as my eye can see."
He probably
How did he smuggle those seeds? It's the only question I have.
How did he what?
How did he smuggle those seeds?
The seeds? He's the president.
He said he smuggled them.
Oh, smuggled them?
Or she said he smuggled them.
Yeah, it said that he smuggled them.
Back then, probably just in his pocket, bottom of his pocket, in some lint. Like, he was like, you know what, I'll put some dryer lint in my pocket. He had dryer lint, and he just stuffed dryer lint in his pocket.
Dryer lint.
He packed seeds on it and walked through.
And then, of course, we have, yes, with our first president, George Washington.
Good old George.
The father of our country kept meticulous diaries wherein he noted, sowed hemp at muddy hole by swamp. Away from the hemp, he grew for fiber.
See, he was like awesome. He documented it. He was like straight up.
Oh, hang on.
I'll go bury it in some shit.
Hang on.
Wrote in my journal.
I've got more that he's written here. Began to separate the male from female plants at Dube. SIC rather too late, and pulling up the male hemp. Was too late for the blossom hemp by 3 weeks or a month. Indicates he was going for female plants with higher THC content. There is also indication he used hemp preparations to deal with his toothache.
He was trying to learn you. You know why? Because the weed was telling him. Get the males out of here if you're going to smoke them. The males are for the papers.
Exactly.
You smoke the females.
But there you go.
Pretty interesting list.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's like cool some top class precedents set.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, and it's crazy too because our first.
That's a very large ratio of presidents. I mean, come on. That's not even arguable.
Yeah.
I mean, it was on the internet. All right.
There's our first 15 presidents smoked pot pretty much.
Yeah. All of them.
I mean.
And then the last 3 or 4. Oh no, yeah, 3.
Yeah.
Not 4.
Yeah.
Not HW.
Well, it goes.
Not Walker. Texas Ranger.
Well, number 2 isn't on here, so I guess they couldn't find. It goes from George Washington to Thomas Jefferson, which he was the 3rd president. And then it goes to James Madison, he was the 4th. Then James Monroe the 5th. And then the 7th, Andrew Jackson.
See, it's just like that's a list of.
Yeah, that's like
a list of historical people. I mean,
that's in a row.
Oh yeah.
That's top notch right there. It's as high as it gets. The highest office can be held. Got high. I mean, That's plain and simple. Alright, I got another one from the TokenTown.com. New Jersey lawmakers debating changes to state medical marijuana program despite governor's disapproval. So, governor doesn't like it. These guys are still like, hey, whatever. There's more of us than you. They got a gang mentality at this point. So, like, you know what? We're going to make stuff happen. And here goes. It's been nearly 5 years since New Jersey passed medical marijuana laws in their state, but so far few dispensaries have opened and others have dragged their heels to the point where patients have had enough. Yesterday, the State Assembly Regulatory Oversight Committee took an hour to listen to the testimony from patients and dispensary owners fed up with the current system. Among their gripes, dispensaries have taken more than 3 years to open. Patients in parts of the state have little access to legal meds, and doctors should be able to write pot recommendations without having to sign it themselves with a onerous physician registration system. So the whole thing is, it's too hard to get shit. Like, they can't get a supply. They're too far spaced apart. There's no funding for them from the state, like every other type of shit was. It's like if it was a drug company came in, or whatever type of company, a widget factory came in, and they were going to apply for some kind of assistance from the government or whatever to get set up, the state. They would get something, and there's not enough apparently set up for this compared to what the market is for it, compared to how many patients there are. I mean, this is a medical need.
Right.
They're always talking about providing Medicare and medical plans for people, so that's what makes this relevant. So, apparently, they got fed up with it. They formed an assembly and a committee, and they took an hour to listen to the testimony from patients and dispensary owners, and noted down everything. They're trying to get stuff done in New Jersey. So, they said the hearing came after 16,000 emails and calls were made to the state health department from frustrated cannabis patients.
Keep calling. Keep making them aware of you. Be the thorn in the side.
Didn't you have one about medical? Weren't you telling me something about medical marijuana earlier?
Well, it's on the medical side of the marijuana, yes. It says, this is courtesy of the Huffington Post. It was posted yesterday. Marijuana may prevent blindness in retinitis pigmentosa sufferers.
If you got retinitis, this might help.
Oh, yeah.
Pigmentosa. Possibly other forms of retinitis.
Yeah.
I'm not a doctor, though.
No. It's long been accepted that marijuana has direct benefits for glaucoma patients, but a new study suggests that pot may also prevent blindness for sufferers of another disease. That disease is retinitis pigmentosa, a degenerative condition that destroys the millions of microscopic light sensors known as photoreceptors in the human eye and has no cure. Researchers at the University of Alicante in Spain may have stumbled on an effective therapy with marijuana, which they say might be able to significantly slow down the destruction of those light sensors. To conduct their study, the scientists gave a synthetic cannabinoid to a group of rats over a period of 90 days and found that these rats had a whopping 40% more photoreceptors left in their eyes than untreated rats did.
How many days?
90 days.
How often do your pieces of your eye dying off? What are they doing to the rats? Like, how fast do chunks of your eye die out? You know?
I don't know.
Like, it's a very, I guess it's a very, micro scale test, too.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not seeing the amount of degeneration ratio properly or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, 90 days, you lose that much eye? I mean,
wow.
I'm a lot older than 90 days, and I still got eyes, so it just doesn't seem like that makes a lot of sense if you just think about it practically.
This disease or whatever.
How many rats did they find with that disease, for God's sakes? How do they make them have this disease?
I'm sure they gave the rat.
They're like, okay, so who owns this place? Dr. Evil? The marijuana is healing them.
It continues to say, rats that were given the drug also experienced improved connectivity between photoreceptors and their postsynaptic neurons, which receive and process light signals. These data suggest that cannabinoids, the active chemicals in marijuana, are potentially useful to delay the retinal degeneration in retinitis pigmentosa patients, the study notes. This was the first time marijuana had been studied as a therapy for the disease. But it may be too early.